What's up, y'all? Action Figure Junkie back with you with another custom action figure made from Hasbro parts and accessories. Who's this? This is a custom version of everybody's favorite stepbrother, Lieutenant Falcon. This is my guy right here. Now, I know you're probably wondering if you're a fan of the classified line and of the 6-inch, G.I. Joes, if you're probably going like, well, whose head is that? Actually, if you've got Falcon, you probably know why I took the head off. Look, I'm not trying to slam anybody. Anybody who sculpts for Hasbro, I'm sure it's a hard job, and they're all artists, but I'll just say it wasn't for me. The head that Falcon originally came with was just kind of hard to look at. Not what I envisioned for Falcon. Falcon was always one of my all-time favorite figures back in the day. Even if you don't like the movie, he's still a very cool figure. Traditional militaristic army Green Beret at a time at which, characters like Rambo were deep within our imagination. Falcon was just a really cool figure. Very basic, very, almost looked like he had come out of the pages of the Nam. He looked like he was straight out of Vietnam. But, well, I'll be honest, the classified version left a lot to be desired for me. And in some ways still does. I'll get to that in a minute. But I'd been looking for a new head basically since I took him out of the package. He just looked like one of the puppets out of Team America World Police. I couldn't stand the face. I'm sorry. Wasn't my thing. So went through a couple different changes. I used the Punisher head at one point. I used the Peter Parker head at one point. And then recently got the awesome deluxe action figure of Tripwire. And thought, Tripwire almost never takes his helmet off, and mine is probably rarely going to take his helmet off, and this is a great head sculpt. So we got our really thin brush, we put on our readers, and we went to work painting his hair black. I know the original action figure was brown, but I kind of like black because that's how it was in the cartoon movie. So just painted his hair and his eyebrows, which was not easy. Black. And it's a great head. That Tripwire head is great, but I just didn't really think Trip was going to miss it. Actually put said Peter Parker head on him, put the helmet on, and it fit perfectly. So, yeah, Peter Parker head from a Marvel Legends Spider-Man. I mean, I had 3 of those lying around. Who's going to miss it? It looked great. All right, so that was step 1. Actually, that was the last thing I did to this figure to improve him. I went and did a ton of dry brush painting, giving him a much more bright green. The green that he originally came with was extremely drab and dull. If you can see with the light, I did tons of dry brush painting to give him a much more vibrant. Sorry. I really want to light it up. Can you see, like the legs and the chest? It's a much more vibrant. It's still nice and muted. It's not like neon crazy 90s era Joe green, but it's definitely an improvement on the green that he came. The green that he came with was just so olive brown. Blech. I hated it. It's actually the color of his boots. See that? I left the boots because I thought that's a nice contrast, but that was, I think, the whole color of his. Can you see the difference between the legs and the boots? That's what the whole body looked like. It was just so boring to me. So of course I had to heighten up the camo splotches because after I dry brush painted the hell out of them, they were almost disappeared. So couple coats on those, and I loved Falcon's camo. It's very simple, which is kind of common in G.I. Joe. It's just one color on top of another, but it looks good, and it's kind of like got that nostalgic feel. So I did his whole body in that dry brush. I took off his straps because the color on those was kind of dog-ass to me too. And I went and looked up a couple images of the original Falcon, and I noticed that it was a very khaki, very light khaki. I painted over the Joe Pro because it's not important to me. I just don't care. I don't use them. I don't know what they're there for. I just don't care. So I painted the straps a very bright popping khaki, just like the original figure, even like the 25th anniversary. And I think it made all the difference in the world. The shotgun he came with was cartoonish to me, and I don't mean that in a good way. It looked like something out of a bad cartoon. I hated it. So I've been going through my weapons collection to try to find the perfect shotgun, and this one, he'll hold for now. If I can just tell you where that shotgun came from, you'll be like, wow, you actually let him have that? It came with my Mafex T800 Terminator from the first Terminator movie, and if you guys know how much those figures cost, me even letting one accessory leave the fold it makes my heart beat a little extra harder. But it just looks really good in his hands. It definitely looks like the type of shotgun that he would rock and use with surgical precision. So until I get something that's better, he will hold that for now, and then it can go back and I will feel safer, because I don't know about you guys, but if you collect any high-end action figures, taking any one of their accessories and moving it from its home is a little bit stressful. If you're, you know, particular like I am. I'm not called, you know, Hot Wheels or Matchbox junkie. I'm action figure junkie, and there you go, that's why. One of the other ways at which I feel that this figure could definitely be improved on is this backpack. This backpack is awful. It is way too big and bulky, and it goes in his back really terrible. If you so much as breathe on him wrong, the backpack will fall off. If you have any tips or tricks, I've tried putty, earthquake putty. It's there's just not enough peg to put it in the hole. I know it sounds like a personal problem, but I think you get what I mean. I can't get the backpack to stay on very well. If I ever try to shoot him in photography, the backpack always ends up on the floor just as I'm about to, you know, click the shutter. It's pretty annoying. But whatever, it does come with a very cool knife. It's a knife. I have to keep saying that. I do like that knife. It's very Green Beret, Rambo-ish. As I'm looking closely at him, I think I see a couple parts of his hair that need to touch up. But when you custom paint action figures, it's kind of like you got to know that touch-ups are just part of collecting. I did some dry brush painting with a darker shade of, you know, like a, I don't know, white skin, whatever, male Caucasian is slightly darker to give it a little bit more contrast and have the muscles and tendons pop. But that's about it. Did a hell of a lot of dry brush painting on the green, added camo blotches. I wish I could do something to the backpack other than just dry brush painting that to give it some more character. Oh, I did paint his bandana the same color as his hat, because the bandana was the same color as his shirt originally. A really plain grayish green drab, and it just didn't pop on him. And if you look back at any pictures, or if you have the original Falcon, that bandana or scarf or whatever you want to call it, almost looks like a Boy Scout thing, but whatever, it popped off of him very, you know, it was contrasting to him. And I don't know, there's ways to make drab figures better, and sometimes it's just a little bit of brush and a little bit of patience, and you can get a great improvement. You know, not trying to slam anybody at Hasbro. Everybody's got it. You know, they design what they design, and I'm sure quite a few people were all about it. This is just my preference, and this is how I like it. So that's about it. Falcon in all his glory. He's now one of my favorite figures, just like he was back in 1987. So the head looks great, the face looks great. I think the colors are fantastic. Every time I look at him, I'm like, that's a sexy man right there. He could get it. All right, thanks for watching, guys. As always, you know, stay true to yourself. Whatever nerd thing you do you, boo. Be safe. Thanks.